Well, today I'm sitting with Deidre Bio. Deirdre, you know why we're here.
I do.
You're the SNP candidate for Edinburgh North and Leith. Good, right. Well, the first question is, I can tell by your accent you're not from around these parts. How did you end up here?
No, I'm not from around these parts. I'm from Perth in Western Australia. That's where I grew up. And I arrived here, I came here on holiday. I've been living in Sydney. I've lived in Sydney for about 10 years. Came over here to visit my sister, who had gone on a round the world trip many years before. Arrived in Scotland and met a Scot and settled down. And I came to visit her on holiday. About a month after that, met a Scot and ended up settling down here. So that was back in '96 I started living in Scotland.
Fell for Edinburgh then, big time. Runs in the family then, eh?
Yes, that's right, yes. Well, actually she's back in Australia now, but she's not with the same Scot, she's with a different Scot, and they're over in Perth now.
Well, there's another story.
Well, these charming Scotsmen, you see.
So how come you ended up involved in politics?
Well, I became interested in politics partly because my parents-in-law had been in the SNP for many years. My father-in-law's 83, he's been in the party since he was about 16 or 17.
Oh, that is a long time.
Aye, and they were student activists together. And at the time of the first Scottish parliamentary election in '99, I became increasingly upset, I suppose, by the way that the media and individuals were portraying people in the SNP, because I knew my parents-in-law were very decent people and, you know, really sort of
were the media demonising the SNP then?
Yeah, I think so. I think there were a lot of them, and I found that really upsetting, so I sort of marched into the shop that there was for the SNP on Leith Walk and joined up. And then, you know, became an activist, did some leafleting and then some door canvassing, and then I applied for a job at the Scottish Parliament.
Was that just because of your interest in the SNP at this point?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'd been at home with the girls. I've got two children. They're now teenagers, 16 and 14, but two girls. And I'd been at home with them, and I was looking to get some sort of part-time work, so this was available. I was interested in politics, and he was an MSP for the Highlands and Islands.
Who's this?
Rob Gibson,
okay.
MSP, yeah. He's
your personal assistant, is that right?
I was his parliamentary assistant, yeah, that's right.
Well, parliamentary then?
Yeah, well, personal assistant, because I've been a PA to other people before. So
it's not an expression that's as common as it used to be a PA, I think.
What is it? You're right. I don't know why.
Perhaps not. So, we know how you we know how you landed up in Edinburgh. And
happily, because it's the most beautiful city in the world.
The question then arises, how did you actually become an elected politician? How did that come about?
I've been, as I say, an activist for a long time. I've worked at the Parliament, and to be honest with you, friends persuaded me. They felt that I'd do a good job, and it took a lot of persuading. At first I said no, because I suppose I was a little fearful of the impact on family life, because I know, you know, having watched Rob and seeing how hard he worked, I was aware that there was that side of it you need to take into account, and that the hours you spend away from home was important. But in the end I just felt like I had something to offer, so I put my name forward, and I was elected in 2007. I was the only woman in a group of 12
Is that right?
councillors. Yes, we went from one councillor in
that's
the
right, and he was out.
12.
And that was Steve Cardowney, and he was the. He'd left the Labour Party, so there was no SNP councillor till he.
No, that's right. Well, not for some time, and
at the moment, you've some experience in the City of Edinburgh Council now.
Yes, yeah. I was convener for Culture and Leisure for 5 years, so I was convener of that committee, and I'm currently Deputy Lord Provost, so...
Well, you're senior councillor.
I suppose I am, yes.
Now, I was interested in the fact that there's been an SNP Labour coalition running Edinburgh City Council since 2011?
Yeah, 12.
12. And so that means that you have some experience working with the Labour Party.
Yes, we do. I mean, I think it was interesting at the time of that election. We were getting quite strong signals, both parties, from both our supporters and from elsewhere, that it was felt that that was a good solution. That was a good way forward for the city. That we had a lot of policies and ideals, ambitions in common, and so that we, if we could just lay sort of that party loyalty, sort of tribal partiality to one side, then we should be able to work together for the good of the city, and I think that's proved to be the case actually.
So you could say that with what Alex Salmon was saying on Sunday in the MAR programme, for example, he was saying that he has experience of minority government,
Yes.
4 years of it.
Yep.
If you're elected to Westminster, you've got experience of working closely with the Labour Party here in the Edinburgh City Council, and I'm sure you two won't be the only ones. So there is experience
Yes.
in the SNP
Yes. Oh yes.
to
yeah,
take
absolutely.
forward a cooperative government, perhaps,
Yeah.
programme in Westminster.
I don't think Labour should be, which it's hard to read the signals sometimes, but they do appear to be a little bit concerned about the proposal, the possibility of a minority government. But I think actually that worked very well for the Scottish Parliament, and of course the Scottish Government then went on to get a much larger majority in the 2011 election, so it certainly didn't do their prospects any harm. I think it was good for them to have to negotiate, for all parties to have to negotiate with each other to get budgets through each year and to get legislation through. I thought that was a very, it showed and I think that was very popular with voters as well. I actually think people like to see people having to work together rather than, simply, being able to get their own thing through all the way. And I feel as if that feeling has continued in this Parliament, despite the larger majority the SNP has. I feel that has hung over, if you like, as an attitude that there's the willingness to cooperate and to work together to achieve the best results for the country.
That's good, thank you. I believe there's a story around that you did a bit of acting
I did.
on television in Australia.
Yes, I did a BA in English, and then I applied for a full-time drama course in Western Australia, and so I did 3 years full-time drama and then became an actor. Of course, you spend quite a lot of time doing other jobs when you're an actor, unless you're very lucky.
Get a lot of experience like making coffee and serving.
Well, yes, all sorts of things. Yeah, that and retail, marketing. I mean, I just did a number of different jobs to support myself. I did get some acting work, happily, but that was when I was in Sydney, largely. And yes, I did a couple of days on Home and Away. I made the mistake of telling my friends that, who then told journalists, and no one's ever forgotten it.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
But I did do Shakespeare and Chekhov and things like that. So.
Oh, well. Well, thank you. Thanks very much.
Okay, good.